This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be doing a analysis of Donald J. Trump. You know, our sworn enemy personality database. Let's see what they have amassed. So they have Donald Trump as an ESTP. That means he has SETIFENI. And they got 2,060 votes for ESTP. 421 votes for ENTJ and 136 votes for ESTJ. So we're gonna do a analysis of him, and we're gonna see what he actually is. Like we say, pick up Linda Barrens material if you want to find your personality type with 100% accuracy and be able to type others, like I am. Pick up those books, but we're gonna go ahead and start this with Donald Trump here.
This book right here. Trump, The Art of the Deal.
And if you like the content, please subscribe and comment below. We will be taking recommendations for celebrities to type in the comments, so let us know what you want us to type. Let's go and get it started.
Donald Trump.
Hi, Donald. Good to see you. Nice of you to stop by. You know, at the beginning of the show, I said you either love him or you hate him. Now, do you find that that's true, or does everybody love you, or does everybody hate you?
No, most people love me, and a few really have great distaste for me, Dave.
And why is it that those people, that few, would not care for you? Because you're so successful?
I can't imagine. No, I don't think so. It's just I sort of speak my mind a little bit like you in that respect.
Okay, yeah. So first thing he said, I speak my mind. I speak my mind. We're gonna put that down as a point for pragmatic. Speak my mind. One of the conditions of being pragmatic is they're always a little shocked at like how people react to them when they do things. So we're going to go ahead and put a point down for pragmatic on that. And we're going to figure out, is he direct or informative really quick, because that will eliminate 8 types, and being pragmatic will also eliminate some more types. So let's see.
A little bit like
me.
Not too much, hopefully.
How much
so
are
he's
you...
initiating there as well. So we're gonna put down for a point for initiating. That means he's interrupting, or he's talking over, like he's initiating with the person. He's kind of interrupting them or changing topics or whatnot. That usually results in a point for initiating, and he's doing that. He feels kind of taking charge here.
You would not care for you because you're so successful?
I can't imagine. No, I don't think so. It's just I sort of speak my mind a
So
little bit like you.
Okay, and now he's initiating. He initiate someone like you.
A little bit like
me.
Not too much, hopefully.
How much are you worth right now as you're sitting right here?
Zero idea, David. It depends on what's happening with the world and the market. But the $1 million for each person in the audience sounds like it could be an intriguing idea.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. $1 million for everybody in the office. Yeah. He seems to be talking about himself a lot.
Do you make more money? You own casinos. How many casinos do you own?
We have 4 casinos.
4 casinos in Atlanta?
Paradise Island, Atlantic City, and it's really been very fabulous.
Now, do you make more money from the casinos or more money in real estate development?
Well, probably real estate in a sense, but real estate is an appreciation business, whereas the casinos are cash flow, and I don't know, I never really even think of it in those terms. I try doing...
Okay, so right now he's talking about outcomes. He's talking about the outcome. Right there, and he's talking about the system of real estate versus the other one. So go back and watch it. Listen up.
Atlantic City, and it's really been very fabulous.
Now, do you make more money from the casinos or more money in real estate development?
Well, probably real estate in a sense, but real estate is an appreciation business, whereas the casinos...
He talks about the outcome there and why, and the system of real estate.
Cash flow, and I don't know, I never really even think of it in those terms. I try doing a great job. I think we have the best hotel casinos in the world.
I just try doing a great job. TFI there. Giving yourself a pat on the back.
And hopefully I have the best real estate in the world with Trump Tower and everything.
Hopefully I have the best real estate in the world. That's going to be another TFI. Bragging about itself, okay? If that was Effie, he'd be talking about connections or connecting with other individuals. He's not doing that, okay?
And that's what I like.
All right, now let's get back to the assessment of your wealth for a second. If you had to liquidate
If you just decided I'm going somewhere else, I'm going to live in a trailer, and you wanted to sell off everything, you'd start with your real estate development, all of your real estate holdings, and whatever else you have, your casinos, so on and so forth. You sold everything. Right. How big would that check be that you put in your pocket when you headed west for the trailer?
Well, I hate to disappoint, but I have zero idea, David. How come this seat is at such a low level?
All right, so he just initiated it. How come this seat is at such a low level? Okay.
Your real estate holdings and whatever else you have, your casinos, so on and so forth. You sold everything. Right. How big would that check be that you put in your pocket when you headed west for the trailer?
Well, I hate to disappoint, but I have zero idea, David. How come this seat is at such a low level? You know, I'm looking at him. He's got this stage rigged, folks.
No. But
that seat is a good half, six inches higher than my seat.
And so am I.
Huh? I see.
But no, I'm serious. I think that this.
I'm not going to get you off that subject.
No, this is.
I'm not going to get you off that subject. See, he's trying to get him off the subject. That's another point for initiating. You see that? He's trying to change the subject. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Donald Trump is extrovert. So we're going to be looking at ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ. And then we have the informative types, which will be ESFJ, ESFP, ENTP, and ENFP. So ENTP, ENFP. Okay. So those are the extroverted types. So we're down to 8 types there because he's initiating like crazy. And so far, what I'm noticing is that Donald Trump seems to be direct, but we're just gonna put an asterisk aside of that, and we're gonna come back to it. But he seems to be pretty direct, and we also have points for outcome. And outcome tends to be the ESTJs, the ESTPs, ENTJs, the ENFJs. Those are the structure types. ESFJs, ESFPs, ENTPs, and ENFPs, they talk about the progression of things or the process of things. And ENTJs don't really give a damn about the process, they just want the outcome.
I think this is the kind of thing that
structure
people
types
love to fantasize.
So structure types don't really care about the process of doing things, they just want the outcome. They're in it for the outcome.
It's about, because you were unquestionably one of the most successful men in the country, if not the world, and also one of the wealthiest. So give us a figure that we might ponder here.
You'll never get it out of me, David. You'll never get it out of me. You'll try, but you'll never get it. Let's get something like how we're going to become more successful. Let's talk about
how we're going to be more successful. See, he tried to change subject again. That'd be another initiating point, but we already know he's initiating. That's off the board.
Afternoon that said in the bank
and
right now.
We can also put down.
Might ponder here.
You'll never get it out of me.
You'll never get it out of me, David. You'll never get it out of me. You'll try, but you'll never get it. Let's get some.
I think we can put down a point for pragmatic there. Okay. You'll never get it out of me.
Something like how we're going to become more successful. Let's talk about that.
I read something this afternoon that said in the bank right now you have $500 million in cash. In cash. Is that a fair?
Which paper did you read that in?
Well, I can't divulge those sources.
You have to give me the newspaper.
No, just tell me, is that not true or is that close? Am I nuts here?
Well, I don't know. You have to tell me where you got that, David. This is a very unusual interview, folks.
This is he's initiating again.
You won't put a figure, just an imaginary figure?
Never would.
$1 billion. You're worth $1 billion?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Are we the low side of perhaps or the high side? What were you like as a kid? What kind of childhood did you have?
Well, I had a good childhood, wonderful parents, really good parents, and it was a good, solid childhood, I'd say. Very normal in a lot of respects, but a very, very solid childhood.
Yeah. See that?
From the standpoint of family.
He's pretty direct. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take all the initiating people off the board. Informative people off the board because he has direct language. So far what we have is that he's direct and he's initiating, which means he's an extrovert. So we're down to 4 types so far. ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, and ENFJ. Okay, that's what we're down to so far.
Are you a driven person? Do you jump out of bed in the morning and just
I don't think of myself as driven. I'm fortunate. I don't need lots of sleep like some people, and some people don't. I don't need that. I would say that I'm somebody that enjoys what I do, and I enjoy it so much that perhaps I do it well. But I really enjoy what I do. I don't like to think of myself as driven. I don't like to think of myself really as ambitious. I just enjoy what I do, Dave.
Is what you do something you've always wanted to do? I know your father was and still is a real estate developer.
My father was in the real estate business, and I've been in that and other businesses and different things. I like what I'm doing. I just enjoy what I'm doing. I love the real estate business, and I love the other businesses that I'm in.
Could you have done it without your father as a support system, both emotionally and financially? Did he help you out when you were starting?
The emotional was very important. I learned a lot from my father, more than anything else. I learned a lot. My father was out in sort of a tough business in Brooklyn, Queens, rent-controlled property and various properties, and it wasn't a great business. It was a good business, and he was a solid guy and a bright guy. And I learned a lot from my father. And I think in terms of support, that would be the number one thing that I got from my father.
Have you had failures, big failures?
Well, I don't look at failures as failures. I think a failure is something that you really want to learn by. I would say that I haven't had too many, and I want to keep it that way.
Okay, so he's very outcome. That's the outcome. Okay, very outcome.
What's the biggest bath you've taken on a deal?
I don't know if I can answer it yet. I mean, let's see what happens. So far, I've been very fortunate. But, I mean, we've all been fortunate. Markets have been going up other than a few weeks ago.
Now, did you get hurt in the stock market then?
Not particularly, but I think everybody gets hurt because when you lose $1 trillion or whatever throughout the world, I suspect everybody's hurt indirectly. I mean, in the real estate business, you sell apartments, you sell this, you sell that. Perhaps people don't have as much. Everybody gets hurt by that, David.
Let me ask you.
Talking about the system there. Okay, go back. Talking about the system there.
You get hurt in the stock market then?
Not particularly, but I think everybody gets hurt because when you lose $1 trillion or whatever throughout the world, I suspect everybody's hurt indirectly. I mean, in the real estate business, you sell apartments, you sell this, you sell that. Perhaps people don't have as much. Everybody gets hurt by that, David.
Let me ask you one more of these silly questions, and I promise after we do the commercial, we'll go on to other topics.
Then we're going to get serious, right?
Well, I didn't
Initiate it.
What would it take, what kind of a hit would it take to get your attention where you would maybe need a drink? Where somebody came in and said, Don, we got some bad news. Woo! That's 7-Eleven in Akron. Well, what?
Hopefully, David, I wouldn't be in a position where I'd have to take that kind of...
I know that. I know. We're just pretending.
I just want to tell you that...
You act like you're running for something.
No.
We'll do a commercial. We'll let him think some of these over and try and get us straight.
Hope they ask better questions.
Okay, Donald Trump is here. You're on the cover of the new issue of People magazine. I don't know what I'm beating around the bush here. I don't know why you're being so goofy about this. It says on the cover, you're a billionaire.
It does say that?
Yeah.
So when people says it, I would have to believe it. When people say so.
What's the deal with you and...
When people say so, then I have to believe it. So that's outside source. So it's going to be TEFI. The reason why we say TEFI because they're on a loop together. They're on the axis together. So if it's TE, then it's FI as well. So if that's an outside source, if the outside source says it, then I have to believe it. That's TE.
Koch. Is this an old irritation between the two of you, or is this something new?
No, it's really not. Ed Koch is a man who I've liked at some points in terms of... I have no objection to Ed except for one thing. He's not a very capable or competent mayor. He's done...
Ooh, wow, you destroyed his reputation there. Put that down for TEFI. Wow.
He's done a bad, as most of you New Yorkers will probably know, he's done a pretty bad job running New York, and that hurts me and it hurts everybody. And when I see somebody that's not competent and he's running something, and something that I have really a big stake in.
Oh my God, boy. He's definitely in charge people. In charge people do not like incompetency. Especially NTs, they do not like incompetent people. They do not like incompetent people.
It bothers me, and I do something about it.
It bothers me, and I have to do something about it because I'm outcome focused. I gotta do something about it because I want an outcome. And I would also say that was pretty pragmatic. Him just ruining, just talking about the guy like that. So he's pragmatic. So I'm gonna go ahead and because we have like 4 points for pragmatic, I'm gonna go ahead and take off ENFJ and ESTJ. So we're down to ESTP and ENTJ. And the difference between ESTPs and ENTJ is ENTJs are systematic people. They try to follow a formula for everything. Like they try to implement a formula for literally everything. And the reason why I know that is because I'm an ENTJ. They are TEFI users. So they all talk about achievements, qualification, outside sources. They love outside sources. And what they value, whatnot. And they're abstract. So they talk about like tangible, intangible things, philosophies, what if scenarios, ideas, and contextual things. As in ESTPs are concrete. They only talk about the concrete things. They're TI users, TIFE. So TI is a logical framework inside of themselves that they apply to things. That's totally different than TE. TE is outside sources. They like outside sources, books, all that. And they're going to go to that more than they're going to go to themselves. So that's TIFE. And FE is about connecting. FI is all about like your individual morals and whatnot. And like that type of thing. So we got TIFE, and they're concrete and they're interest based. They're all about what they get out of a situation. So let's see if we can find any of that to break this down. Personality database has them as an ESTP. We're gonna see if that's correct or not.
Who has a lot of.
And let's check out the little pretty chart here. So we're down to ENTJ and ESTP. If you check there, like we said earlier, him being direct eliminates 8 types. Him being pragmatic eliminates 4 other types, and him being let me see what we got. So we have direct, we have initiating. So initiating also eliminates types as well. So we're down to 2 types right now. Him being initiating, pragmatic, and direct eliminates practically all the types besides 2. So we're down to ESTP and ENTJ. Let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Of really special interest in the city?
No, it's not I do have a special interest. I have a special interest in New York. New York City is a hot city. It's a great city. It's the greatest city in the world, according to many, and according you're here.
See, he's talking about, first of all, that's a lot of TE right there. Greatest city in the world. It's a lot. It's from an outside source. He just quoted like an outside source from a lot of
really special interest in the city?
No, it's not I do have a special interest. I have a special interest in New York.
I have a special interest in New York.
New York City is a hot city. It's a
hot, great city.
It's the greatest city in the world.
Greatest city in the world is FI.
According to many, and according you're here, and we're also here.
According to many is TE. So that's outside sources saying that it's great. So he seems to be a TEFI user. And if he's a TEFI user, he's an ENTJ. But we're going to keep going to see if we can find other stuff. But that there was a lot of FI and then TE. You know, when you references other sources, that's TE. TI is inside of you. Like you reference your own thoughts, not other people's thoughts. And he's referencing other people's thoughts.
All right.
And I hate to see some of the things happening with New York that have happened under the Koch administration. So I hit him pretty hard in the book, but I hit him fairly in the book.
I hit him pretty hard in the book, but I hit him fairly. We'll put a point for pragmatic there in TEFI. I hit him fairly. No, you didn't.
Very fairly. Yeah. Probably very hard in the book, but very fairly.
That don't even make sense, bro. That don't even make sense.
Is it kind of a pointless defense to say that this city is so big that it is actually unmanageable to a certain extent, and he's doing the best he can, sort of just tending it day to day?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I hope that's never a defense of anybody. I did the Woolman skating rink in 4 months for $2 million or $2.5 million. They started.
He's talking about TEFI. What I did, my achievements. Check me out. This is what I did. Okay, and he's talking about outcomes. Okay, so TEFI and outcomes. He's talking about check me out. This is what I did. This is what I did. he could have did the same.
Sort of just ending it day to day?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I hope that's never a defense of anybody. I did the Woolman skating rink in 4 months for
This is what I did. TEFI.
$2 million or $2.5 million. They started 7 years before that and were unable to build it. I think they spent something like $15 million.
This is a huge...
They're not even able to finish it, and I've already finished mine. Look at me. Give me praise.
ice skating facility in Central Park, which the city was...
7 years. 7 years.
7 years, they could not get it open.
They could not build it.
Yeah.
And we did it in 4 months. So...
And we did it in 4 months. Look what I did, see?
Big and everything else, and give them a little bit more time. But the fact is, that's a disgrace. The zoos are a disgrace. The subways, the school.
Everything's a disgrace. This is a disgrace. TFI and outcome. Very outcome focused.
But
It's really, David, it's really management. It's management, it's competence, it's capability, it's just basic ability, and Ed Koch doesn't have it.
Yeah, but you're speaking again from the over the fence in private enterprise. He's trying to run a municipal administration.
It can be done.
You think it can be done?
Absolutely. By the right person, it could be done.
Yeah.
Outcome. It could be done. Outcome. It could be done by the right person. Outcome.
Want to be mayor of the city?
I wouldn't want to be. It'd run very well if I was mayor, but I would not want to be.
If I did run, it'd run very well. That's a what-if statement, so that's 1 point for abstraction. And that's TFI yet again, bragging on itself. Okay, his achievement. If I did run, it'd go really well. Okay. So, I mean...
Is there something you do want?
No, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on your show. You're a fantastic show. You're a star in my book. Everyone's talking about
I know.
You're a star in my book.
We wrote all about David in the big book.
Now, that's another
Pretty
thing.
surprised
We
to see
came
that.
up to you that one afternoon, completely unannounced. We were in the lobby of the Trump Tower facility up the road there, and we just called up and said, can we come up and see Don? And they said, come on up.
Absolutely.
Now, how busy can you be?
I'm not busy at all.
But you
That
were
was a
actually...
lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah, it
You're
was
coming
fun.
up.
Initiating.
And I must say, I thought that was very gracious of you to do, because obviously you've got a lot better things to do than goof around with me.
You're right.
Yeah. And what about the, are people trying to draft you to run for president up in New Hampshire?
Well, I guess a lot of people want to see this country. It's a shame what's happening. Japan, Saudi.
So I guess a lot of people. So he's talking about the people again, so it's more TE.
Are people trying to draft you to run for president up in New Hampshire?
Well, I guess a lot of people want to see this country. It's a shame what's happening. Japan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, everybody's taking advantage of the United States. People know that if certain people are running a country, that it won't happen. I mean, when you look at Japan not paying for the defense, we're defending Japan. We're losing billions and billions of dollars. We're fighting for AIDS help and for farmers and for this and that. And it's a shame. And the Japanese folks, who I respect greatly, but they're not treating us fairly. They're really not treating us fairly. Kuwait,
They're not really
Saudi
treating us
Arabia,
fairly
they're not
at
paying us
TFI.
anything for the services we're rendering, and I think it's a disgrace. And I think people look at certain people, and maybe me, if I were in a position this country,
Go back.
Saudi Arabia, they're not paying us anything for the services we're rendering, and I think it's a disgrace. And I think people look at certain people, and maybe me, if I
Talking
were
about
in a
himself,
position,
so that was another
this-
TEFI, people like me. And he hit us with an if statement, so it'd be an
this
abstraction.
country, believe me, would not be ripped off like it is, and it is just being ripped off so badly by our so-called allies.
Yeah. So that's a pretty strong statement. So now, are you
I don't
saying
think it's
that...
strong. I think it's fair. And by the way, I have tremendous
Initiated again.
respect for
He
the
keeps talking about what's fair. FI again.
Japanese. I do a lot of business with the Japanese, and they smile about it too. They know it. The country is losing billions and
And
billions.
he's
of dollars
pragmatic.
to
He's
Japan,
pragmatic as fuck. Like, I mean, he's super pragmatic here.
and we can't afford to lose. And it's a shame. It's
But
a
so
shame
now,
what's
are you saying this by way of indicating that you could do it better, and you do intend to run for president at some
No,
point?
I'm not going to run for president, but I think somebody.
Now,
could
in
do-
8 years, if you came back, would you have a different answer? In 4 years?
I
if you
tend to
came back?
doubt it. I really tend
Really?
to doubt it. But I just think that there's so many ways that this country can straighten itself out, and we're not going about those ways. Cutting farm aid is not the appropriate thing. Cutting help for the homeless and help for the poor and welfare, certain things can be done that really will mean big dollars to this country. And those things are
He's talking about the bottom line, outcome, TEFI as well.
not being done right now.
Let me ask you one other question, because I know you have other appointments and stuff to get to. If you go to dinner and the bill is like Say $25.
So David Letterman, he's abstract. He's an abstract type as well. Like he always creating hypothetical situations.
How much of a tip would you throw down?
And let me guess here. He's gonna say whatever they do, he's gonna be fair with the tip. I guarantee you.
You know, the way I feel about tips, if somebody does a super job, I give more than anyone. And if somebody does a lousy job, I probably give less than anybody. And that's the way I feel about life. Life should be...
So that's a system there. That's a system there. That's how I feel about everything. So you apply that system to, like I said, ENTJs love applying a formula to everything they do.
Tips, if somebody does a super job,
if somebody does a super job, that's a what if. So another point for abstraction.
Does a lousy job, I probably give less than anybody, and that's the way I feel about life.
That's how I feel about life.
You should be rewarded for competence and capability and doing a job.
Okay, so a big core need of NTs is competency and mastery. They're really after that. Like that's what they're after. Like that's a core need to them is competency. Like ENTJs, INTJs, ENTPs, INTPs, they really care about competency of everything, you know. In the NFs care about purpose. I think the SJs care about belonging or something like that. Belonging. I'm about to pull out the chart here, but not the chart, but the book. To be exactly 100% with you guys. But let me just go ahead and read it for you. This is all from Linda Barrens. I highly recommend you guys get it. So the core needs of the NFs, those with a callous temperament need to have a sense that in some way they are doing contributions to a higher purpose that is having meaning in the totality of their lives. Okay, so they care about meaning and significance. Core needs of the NTs, though mastery and self-control, knowledge and competency. Those with a theorist temperament want to master whatever they set their minds to while being able to predict courses of events. They must feel as if they have willpower and control over themselves. Knowledge and competency. Their worst fear is to be incompetent. You see what he's talking about? He keeps talking about that. Seeking objective knowledge, they want to know and understand the operating principles of the universe, developing new knowledge, solving abstract problems, conducting scientific research, and being an expert all meets these needs. Okay, that's NT. So for anybody saying that Donald Trump is not an NT, that's literally what he talks about all the time is competence. Okay, so let's talk about the stabilizers. Stabilizers, they want membership or belonging or responsibility or duty. Those with a stabilizing temperament have a strong need for connectiveness and affiliation. This is more about having a place in a group, family, work group, church, than belonging to clubs and socializing. Responsibility or duty. Those with a stabilizing temperament need to be and feel responsible. They hunger for responsibility. This need is so strong that they often take on too many responsibilities at times, and if they do not feel that they have done the responsible thing, they will experience stress. They are likely to feel ashamed if they have not behaved responsibly. See, that's the SJs. Okay? And the SPs, they want freedom to act now and ability to make an impact. Okay? Does he sound like he's doing that? No, he's always talking about competency. People who have an improviser temperament pattern are really tuned into changes in situation and opportunities for action. They want the freedom to respond to whatever is going on in the moment so they can seize those opportunities either for their own wants or for the good or a project or an organization. They find it painful to not be free to respond because they trust their impulses, that gut feeling for what is right to do. When they no longer have impulses to action or they are severely restricted in having the freedom to act, they suffer incredible stress. Okay? Ability to make an impact. Many of us want to have an impact, but they need to see a result from their actions or to elicit an immediate response from others is stronger and more concrete here and now than for the rest of us. This need for impact shows in their drive to action. So that's the SPs. So they personality database got him as an ESTP, and he would need a core need. That means he would need is a freedom to act and ability to make an impact. Okay, NTs talk about mastery and self-control, knowledge and competence. And what is he always talking about? He's always talking about other people being incompetent, and he can't stand it.
And having a smile on your face, maybe, if that's the case. And I'm a pretty good tipper when somebody's good, and I'm a pretty lousy tipper if somebody's not good. So that's the way it is.
But, you know, sitting here listening to this stuff, it seems to me you are dying to get to some public platform to superimpose those feelings upon the American awareness.
Well, maybe so, but I'm not. I would like to have the feelings known and let somebody else do it, and it can be done. If it's carried, if the ball's
I would like
carried,
my FI to be known. I would like my FI to be known, but somebody else do it. Okay.
be done.
Yeah, but if you want something done right,
do it yourself.
Here's the book. It's Trump, the Art of the Deal, and this is Donald Trump. Donald, thank you very much for coming out.
I guess we're done here. Okay, I guess we're done here. Maybe we'll check out another video here just for shits and giggles. We'll pull him being old. Let's pull his ass being old.
Joining us now for the full hour, the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Mr. President, good to see you.
That was a very good job.
Oh, okay, so
You've done that before.
See, he's initiating like crazy, and he's telling them what to do. So that's be direct, and that be direct and extroverted. So just off the rip right there. Okay, so that would make him ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ. Okay, we're just watching this for fun, but we have concluded that Donald Trump is an ENTJ because we got so many points for TEFI. ESTPs are TIFE. So if he has a lot of TEFI, he cannot be ESTP.
I have once in a while, but a number of years.
Thank you very much.
So your whole family, you saw the Letitia James presser.
Terrible.
Okay. What was your reaction?
Well, she campaigned on it 4 years ago. It was a vicious campaign, and she just talked about Trump, and we're going to indict him, we're going to get him. She knew nothing about me. I never heard of her, but I saw this woman. I saw the statement she was putting out without knowing anything, and she said, we're going to get him. That her whole campaign was based on that.
So he's talking about outcome.
And then she came after us. We've been going over this for years, and I actually thought, because our values are really high, the company is great. I built a great company.
I brought a great company. The values are high. He's talking about TEFI. He's not talking about TIFE.
Places like this, so many other places that I have like this, frankly. I mean, just among the finest places anywhere in the world. I actually thought that they would never bring a case, and she brought it. And the reason I thought, because she didn't have a case, I was of the impression she wanted to settle, but I had a problem, because how do you pay something, even if it's a small amount of money, if you're not guilty? This was just a continuation of a witch hunt that began when I came down the escalator at Trump Tower with who would know, our great future First Lady, who's done a great job and people love her. But we came down the escalator and it started. But I'm so proud of what we did. We had the strongest border in the country.
We're the strongest border in the country, TFI. Give me some achievement, accomplishment, admiration.
Biggest tax cuts and regulation cuts. We had the best employment ever in the country.
Best employment ever, TFI, like crazy.
Energy independent. We did things that nobody ever thought possible. We would have been energy
dominant. We did things that nobody else thought possible, TFI.
Throughout the world in a very short period of time. Much larger than Russia, much larger than Saudi Arabia put together. We were all set. And then they came along and they just dismantled that. They wouldn't finish the wall. The wall was completed. The original section was completed. I said, let's do more. We did more. He could have had that finished in 3 weeks. And now you have millions and millions of people pouring through. We had the strongest border in history. And by the way, that included drugs too. We had drugs down 19% from what they were the
data, statistics, facts, TEFI. We had it down 19%
this year, and 20% from what they were that previous year. We were doing great, and now the drugs are pouring into our country at a level that nobody's seen, and the people, they're emptying out their prisons into the United States.
Let me go back to Letitia James.
You see that he changed the subject from Letitia James and everything, so that's initiating. So yeah, we feel very strongly that Donald Trump is an ENTJ.
Loan application running the Trump organization?
Well, you know, we make loans, but I have very little debt. You know,
here's what I want to tell you. What you said today.
I might
initiating.
Add one thing.
See that? Initiating.
They've demeaned me for years with this stuff. And
they
now
have demeaned me, took away my character, TFI, my reputation. TFI users really care about reputations. So, yeah, they're going to go after you. Have you seen in the Michael Jackson one that I typed? When you go after their character, they really are going to go after you.
I have very little debt, very, very little, a lot of cash. We have a great company, and we have among the best assets anywhere in the world. But I went through, they were demeaning me, constantly, these people. There's something wrong with them. I really believe they hate our country.
I
really believe they hate our country.
That in your financial statements, when you make a loan application, and you can confirm it if you know this or not know this, do you put in a caveat that actually says these are our valuations?
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lending institution, a bank, a financial institution that would lend money to anybody and just go by the borrower's estimation, evaluation of a particular property. So if you're buying a $100 million property and you're putting X, Y, and Z up for leverage, you estimate its value at this, they estimate it at this.
Right.
Don't they have a fiduciary responsibility before they give you that amount of money?
So what they do,
determine what the value is?
Initiating.
These are banks that
Initiating. Cutting them off.
have the best law firms in the world, the biggest and
The
best.
best law firms in the world. He
powerful.
loves to put FI on everything. Biggest and best things in the
Do
world.
their own work. They don't rely on us. But what they do is we have a disclaimer. And we put together, my people put it together. I would look at it and it looked fine, but it's not overly important. What's important is the property. I have the best property. What happens, Sean, is
I have the best property. There you go, giving us some more. I have the best property, TF.
Right on the front. And it basically says, get your own people. You're at your own risk. This was done by management. It wasn't done by, it was done by management. So don't rely on the statement that you're getting. And by the way, it goes on for like a page and a half. It's a very big disclaimer. It's a very powerful disclaimer. It basically says to an institution, you're going to loan money, you have to go out and make sure that, you get your own appraisers, your own lawyers, everything. These are banks that have the best lawyers in the world, Sean. This is the only case, by the way, that got paid back. Just so you know.
Paid back. Nobody got harmed.
I never
No harm.
got a default. No, I paid them back because we have a lot of cash. I paid them back. I paid many of them off. I have very little debt, unbelievably little debt.
Paid the loans off. So so there was no harm, no
bank. They didn't lose money.
So you told every institution what you believe the valuation is. They have a fiduciary responsibility before they give you $100 or $200 or $300 million to buy a property. They have that responsibility to come up with their own valuation because they've got their own bosses and shareholders that they have to answer to.
So they would look at a property like this. I don't even have a mortgage on this property. I don't have a mortgage on most of my properties. I used to read where I was overextended and he had so much money.
I used to read where I was overextended as outside sources, TEFI. He's talking about those.
And I'm saying, what are they talking about? And actually, the one good thing is people see what a great company I built. I built a great company, a powerful company.
A great company, powerful company. That's TEFI like crazy. Okay, so we're done here, man. He's a TEFI machine. If he was an ESTP, he'd be saying a lot of TIFE. He'd be talking about connectiveness. He'd be talking about his logical consistency here. He's not doing that. He's like putting FI on everything, the biggest, the greatest, the whatnot. He's talking about what other sources. He's not talking about his own internal thinking at all. He's talking about achievements, that type of thing. So with that said, the first thing we did was notice that Donald Trump was pragmatic. So that eliminates 8 types. Because you have the affiliative types and you have the pragmatic types. Affiliative types are interdependent and pragmatic types are independent. So usually a pragmatic type will do something then ask for forgiveness, as an affiliative type will ask for forgiveness before they do it. So they'll ask about it before they do it. Donald Trump's not asking anybody. He's just going to do it. That's why he blasts everybody. He doesn't care where you are or who you are. He's going to blast you. And he might ask for permission later. Or forgiveness later. And then we notice he's very initiating, which means he's extroverted. So he's an extroverted pragmatic type, which could only be ESTP, ESTP, ENTJ, and ENTP. And then we notice that he's outcome focused and he's direct. And if he's outcome and direct, then he can only be an ESTP. and ENTJ. Okay, and ESTPs have TIFE is their function of use. They use, and ENTJs use TE and FI. Okay, and you've seen throughout this whole interview, we have been bullet pointing so many points for TEFI. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 22 points for TEFI, and no points for TI at all. So off that, Donald Trump's an ENTJ. So that makes him systematic, pragmatic, initiating, direct, and abstract. That makes him SENI user, and that makes him a TEFI user, which he blasts everything with the greatest this, the greatest that, the greatest this. So let's go ahead and go laugh at personality database. So they have him as an ESTP. That is wrong with 2,000 votes, and we just explained why he's not a TI. You see that right there in the auxiliary and tertiary. He's not a TI user. He is a TE user. He's always talking about outside sources or putting great on something, or he's the greatest, or he talk about achievements or qualifications or anything like that. Or so he's the ENTJ. The people who voted 421 times is correct. If you like the content, please subscribe. This is Mongolian Mindset, and we're done here.